Denise Gwen, reading aloud for you from my short story, The Greasy Spoon, Chapter 40. "Hold on a sec," Junior said. He set his rifle onto the grass, pushed the handgun into his back pocket, and turned his back to them. "I gotta take a piss. You guys go on ahead." "Okay," Jeb said and eased to the door. "You want Clem to stick around, hold your dick for ya?" Junior laughed. "Nah, I'm good." He walked off a few paces. Nick watched in agony as Junior took his sweet time urinating. Clem was right. Only a fool would climb up here to the roof. The soles of his hands bubbled and blistered. The exposed part of his chest burned, and the thin t-shirt he wore under his dress shirt proved to be scant protection as the hot tar roasted him and the sun beat down upon his head. He might faint from heat exhaustion before Junior got up here if he didn't get a move on. Clem and Jeb walked into the factory, muttering to themselves. "What's happened to Buddy?" Clem asked. "Not sure," Jeb said, "but I'm starting to get a bad feeling about all this." "What was your first fucking clue?" With Clem and Jeb gone, and with Junior taking care of business, Nick's body broiled like bacon in a frying pan. His skin sloughed off his arms under the baking sun, and finally, with the hot liquid tar and the killing heat, he could bear it no longer, and he scrambled to his feet and danced around on the rooftop, flapping his raw hands in the air to cool them. The skin had sheared clean off, while looking around wildly for an avenue of escape or defense. Thank God he'd managed to keep his shoes on. He didn't know what he'd do if he were up here barefoot. He kept half an eye out on Junior while gazing out the expansive roof. The roof was a long, flat, bubbling mess of wet, sticky tar. 100 yards away perched a housing unit with a generator beside it, the power center for the factory. If he started running right this second, he might get to the housing unit by the time Junior made it up here. But what if Junior was fast and saw him? You've got that metal box at the end of the prod. You could do some damage with that. If nothing else, it'll catch him by surprise. And then he heard it. The rackety sound of the ladder as an agile young man climbed up it. And what do you know? Yes, sirree, there he is, folks, Jeb Junior. Nick saw the top of his head, and for some weird reason, Junior wasn't looking up, but down at his feet. And in the second that his head cleared the roofline, Nick turned the metal end of the cattle prod toward the ladder, and at the moment that Junior's eyes lifted and he registered Nick's presence, "Will you looky-loo at that? I was right, goddammit. I was right all along. He was up here all this time." He saw the end of the cattle prod heading straight for his temple. His eyes widened, first in surprise, then in anger, and Nick struck Junior hard in the right temple, and Junior's eyes went flat and wide, and then his forehead banged hard on the roof, and a hot, oily sludge of tar glued to his forehead, and he toppled down the ladder and collapsed to the ground. Nick stood above him, staring down, panting. He hadn't meant to kill Junior, just to disable him. But did he kill him? He suddenly realized that he didn't want to kill anybody. He'd prefer to get out of this alive and without killing anyone. But already Buddy was dead, and so was Lupe, and so was Ed, and who the fuck else might be next? Junior lay on the ground like a rag doll, his stupid, toothless mouth wide open, his tongue lolling down the chin. Not one sign of life. Nick waited 1 second longer, then dropped the cattle prod and sped down the ladder and stood over Junior. He spared the door one quick, furtive look, then bent down over him and watched with sick fear for signs of death. Junior's eyes had rolled up into the back of his head and his body had gone ragdoll flaccid. And as Nick watched in growing horror, he became convinced that he really had killed him. Then Junior twitched. Oh, he didn't want to do this. Oh, he didn't want to do this at all. But he got down onto his hands and knees and crawled over to him and circled Junior's right wrist with the first 2 fingers of his left hand and checked the pulse point, and after a long moment of intense concentration, he sensed it. A faint pulse. Yes, very light indeed, but a pulse. The asshole was still alive.